the biggest question in all of flipped learningdom is, what if they don't do the work? What if my students won't do the pre-class work? Doesn't the whole model fall apart? You know what the answer is? Pretty much, yeah, it does. So how do you get students to do the pre-work? Well, let's be honest, some students won't do the pre-work. Just acknowledge that, be okay with that, because that's true now. I mean, the homework that people are assigning now, do all students do the work? Yeah, no. Let's now hear from one of our experts and see what she's found.
I haven't really found getting my students to complete their pre-class or homework a big issue in my class, because flipped learning allows you to form fantastic relationships with your students because you're talking to every one of them every lesson. They really do understand about why they need to do it. But just like any homework in any class, I talk through our expectations and we determine consequences as a class together about what would happen if you don't meet those expectations. And in my class, that generally is just that if you don't come the first time, you get a warning. The second time, you have a detention to complete the practice work or the active learning work that you miss while you're completing the video watching in my class. But overall, like I said, it's not a massive issue in my class to have students turn up with their pre-work complete.
Did that surprise you? That it hasn't really been that big of a problem for her students? But did you also hear something else? She said this word: relationships. As you build relationships into your students' lives, more of them will do the work. Also, she said, treat it like any other homework. You see how each of these is another 1% a marginal gain? And I think it was interesting, of course, that she said, if they don't do the work, then they have to watch it in class, and then they have to make up the active learning. So there's an accountability piece built in here, right? Let's hear from another expert.
I use a tool called Edpuzzle to post my videos, and I usually add some questions, some check for understanding questions. On the back end, after I've assigned it, I use the gradebook feature, check to see who's watched it and what questions, the check for understanding questions they may have struggled with, and that helps me kind of focus the face-to-face time, or at least the beginning of the face-to-face time.
So there are some tech tools that you can use, and we'll go over these, to check for accountability. These kind of are related, right? And you can assign points, the old point thing, some kind of system that keeps track. Great. What are some other marginal gains we can get? Let's hear from an expert.
Every video lesson in my class is a quiz, so they get a grade. They get full credit just for having watched it and responding to the questions that are inside. The questions I embed in there are either something I just said or something I just did or wrote on the screen. If they don't watch the lesson, they're only going to get half credit for that quiz, and they're going to sit and watch it in class when they come in. I'm not delivering the lesson in class. The only way they're going to get the content is by watching it. So they get their earbuds out, get out a Chromebook, and watch the lesson. After they've done that once or twice, they all watch the lesson.
Grade it and don't lecture. So again, the points right here. And then notice he said that. It's very important. Don't lecture. You can't ever lecture. You do that, guys, if you lecture after students don't do the work, you have ruined the whole system. You've told those who didn't watch it that they didn't need to watch it, and those who did that they didn't need to either. Because ultimately what we're doing is we're talking here about some kind of an accountability system. Let's hear about one interesting way a teacher makes students accountable for the pre-work. Fascinating.
I've developed a notes framework with blanks, and I've got the examples already written out, and so they've got space with which to write math examples, for example. You really get a good sense of who takes good notes and who doesn't. So students watch my videos follow their notes framework exactly, and when they are done, they use an app, some Cam Scanner or the Notes app on an iPhone. There's a variety of apps that will scan these documents and turn them into PDFs. And they can then directly upload that PDF into the appropriate assignment for video watching. This is going to show you what these uploads would look like for students. So videos day 1, this is a young woman who has taken notes on her framework and uploaded it, scanned it with Cam Scanner. She's filled out, worked the examples, and so forth, and then I'm able to grade that.
That seems simple. They take notes, then they upload a PDF or a picture to their LMS. Crazy simple and easy. Let's hear from one last expert on this and one tip that she has found to make sure her students do the pre-work.
I have what I call a video check. So after every video that the student watches for homework, they take their notes. When they come into class, they take a few minutes to write a summary of their notes. And then once they've reviewed that material, they have a really quick quiz that's maybe 10 questions long. So that holds them accountable. One thing that I have begun to do with my classes this year, I'll post all of the videos. They're all accessible to the students all at the same time, so that if I have a student that knows that they've got a soccer game coming up, or they've got a lot of practice for the theater company coming up, they can go ahead and watch all of the videos and take their notes on their own time at their own pace. And then when they come in, they still know that they have those video checks.
She does a quick quiz. I like that, right? And then make sure that students have ample notice. Now, that's an important piece, that ample notice, because if students are expected to do some work at home, and probably your students, like mine, are really, really busy people, and so that advanced notice is important, because students need to know what's expected well in advance. Now, let's be honest. If you do all of these things, some students still won't do the pre-work. So there's no one perfect strategy, but if we take the principle of marginal gains, we can reach the vast majority of our students. And especially as we go through this unit, we'll be talking about how to design the best individual space pre-class assignments. And if you follow the rest of the principles in this unit, more marginal gains will be had. Not just in getting students to do the pre-work, but actually more important in making them understand that the pre-work will be impactful, motivating, and engaging.